Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Good Bad Score. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Collin.
And today we are reviewing the newest Disney live action remake, Mulan, which was originally supposed to come out in March, but due to coronavirus, it got pushed back to come out in July. And now they've decided to put on Disney Plus for $30. So let's talk about this movie. In this new Disney live-action remake, we meet Mulan, whose father is forced to join the Imperial Army to help defeat Northern invaders, but is not well. So Mulan decides to go behind her family's back, take her father's place, and disguise herself as a man to join the Imperial Army and defeat Northern invaders, but most importantly, bring honor to her family. So, Collin, what was your positives about Mulan?
Well, before going into my positives on the live action Mulan, I would like to mention how I purposely stayed away from watching the original Mulan in preparation for this review. I want to give my opinion on what the movie is like on its own. And starting off, the biggest thing you gotta talk about the strong heroine Mulan. I think she is a very fun, strong character who has a lot of value and respect, and especially in the time where she's living to where women are given no rights, it is very powerful to see her kind of go against the norm and try and fight for her country and definitely bring respect to her family. I also want to mention that the trailers for this movie really did not do justice on the actress playing Mulan. In the trailers, they literally chose every shot where she's not smiling or she's breaking down crying. They never show her the kind of energy she has in the beginning of the film, which I think that was very charming to see how she's not like wanting to cause trouble, but she just very much like is not to the standards of women in her society. So I think Mulan's a great lead for the movie. And I think the actress does a really good job portraying the character. I really like how this movie kind of went in a different direction and didn't have it as a straightforward musical with comedic side characters. I know that's going to be a very controversial thing for me to say, but I kind of like how it's taken it seriously. It played more into an action movie, more like teenage portrayal of this story. Some of the fight scenes are very kind of creative and unique. Some of the additions as the witch antagonist character that's added, I like the little back and forth she has with Mulan in the middle of the film. Their kind of back and forth reminded me very much of like kind of good and evil and how it's not so black and white. I like that addition to the movie. It doesn't feel like I'm watching a remake of a Disney movie. It feels like I'm watching a kind of more grown-up version of it.
Yeah, so I agree with most of everything what you said. Yeah, this is a very beautifully shot movie, especially for a Disney live-action remake. And what I do enjoy about this movie is that it feels like a much more mature movie compared to the previous live-action Disney movies. They kind of make it more for mature kids. I would probably say maybe like 10 and older. So I definitely don't think this is for 5-year-olds to go see, because it's just what they kind of do with this one, it's much more serious. And I've seen the original Mulan, and I love that movie. I think that movie is just really great. It's fantastic, and it's another different Disney movie, which I appreciate. And I like that this movie itself in the live action remake is also a different movie. I appreciate how ambitious they went. They didn't go with anything from the original Mulan. There's no Mushu in it, played by Eddie Murphy. There's no songs in it. And also, too, you don't have the grandmother in the movie as well, or even like the spirits. So they definitely go a total 360 on this movie. And this movie is so beautifully shot. This is probably the best shot Disney live action remake, I think. But I just love the coloring of this movie. Like, the set design is incredible. It's so vibrant, and it's just really eye-catchy. This movie kind of plays the boundaries of the gender roles. You know, the females in the movie all have to be, have to be working in the house, being at their homes, being a matchmaker, being having to be forced to married, and it's like a woman fighting, it's like a disgrace. So it does play a very important message, especially how it's relevant in today's society. Yeah, I do think some of the action scenes for half of it was pretty neat. I gotta say, there was some pretty neat action sequences, and I thought the actress that played Mulan did a fine job. I thought she was very good, and for the most part, I was very impressed with this live action remake. And all right, Colin, let's get to our negatives about Mulan. So, what are your negatives?
Well, my biggest negative on Mulan comes down to its writing. This is a very poorly paced movie. I think all the side characters are underwritten. I definitely think that all the kind of fellow soldiers that Mulan's fighting with, they have no development besides one note traits. There's something missing, which Andrew, I bet you're gonna go into it, but there's something missing about this movie that I kind of want to see. Especially in the first half of the movie, there's a lot of Mulan kind of playing the act as the male soldier, but you kind of needed that side to where she's talking to someone who knows her situation. That I feel like the main love interest guy, or maybe one of the higher up generals, knew she's a soldier, and she needs someone to talk to about what's going on, her emotions and all that, rather than her always feeling like she's by herself. And then I think the other big negative is the villain. The main male villain, who I believe is the same from the animated one, he's useless. Get rid of that character and have the female witch be the main antagonist of it. Is a much better character, and they could have went even further into their development with Mulan and her. I say the final thing is that as much as the movie that it tries to be more dull, it tries to kind of show like this is going to be the first amazing Disney live action remake. It plays it way too safe, especially for a PG-13 movie. This movie could have easily been PG. Aside from, I think, maybe some like nudity jokes, and I think maybe some arrows being flown, this is easily a kid's movie. It's very predictable. I think it would be a lot more interesting if some characters' fate was different and you had other characters play bigger roles.
Okay, so as I said earlier, I appreciated a lot of how different it was from the original, because when I saw the Lion King movie, I did not like the Lion King because it was exactly like the original. It was like they copied and pasted that movie onto like Photoshop or whatever, and they just like made it photorealistic. It was exactly like the original Lion King. And that's what I liked about, for the most part, of Mulan, is that they did some different things with it. They made it mature, but I think they went too much with not trying to be like the movie. What they should do is did like what they did with Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Cinderella. Keep it the same way. Okay? You can get rid of some characters. I'm okay if they got rid of Mushu. I'm fine with that, because I don't think it would have fit in what they were trying to do. Okay? But like changing just changing like almost every little thing, like half, like majority of it, I just don't think it works. I think you should have like do both service to the fans and then do service to people who want something different. Just split it in half, but like just move the furniture around and then just find that path to get to the end where it's like, okay, it all led into how we saw the original, and it worked out for how like new people saw it. I don't know, but it's just I was just disappointed in this movie. I have to disagree with you, Colin. I did not like the witch. I wasn't crazy about her. It wasn't because she was. I mean, she wasn't in the original Mulan. Like, I get that, but her character to me just didn't feel. I didn't feel any emotion to this character, and like I hate the. I'm starting to like not like the idea that they are doing all these live action remakes from the Renaissance Disneys from the 90s. That was a big era for Disney with Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and so many more. And the fact that I just feel like now at this point they're just remaking all of these movies is almost like doing a disservice to that. This movie feels like a superhero movie. In the original, it feels like a war movie. It just kind of bugged me because you see all of them like jumping up on the walls, flying all over the place, these slow-mo shots. It just didn't feel gritty. It didn't feel like a war. And I could be wrong, but like in the original Mulan, you don't see that. You don't see her like running up against the wall, doing these backflips, flying all over the place, throwing a million arrows at people. Like it just felt unnatural. It didn't feel realistic. It was just so boring. It was slow, and it really could have been better. But the thing that I will say that saves this movie is the visuals, the beautiful scenery, the locations, the set design, the costumes. It's all there, but it's just there is no execution to this movie. So let me ask you this, Collin. Do you think this movie's worth $30 to buy on Disney Plus?
No, I think it was a poor choice for them to have this be the movie to pay $30 for.
Yeah.
It. Because it's a movie that, one, like you say, it's a remake. People seen it. You can go onto the same exact app and watch the animated one for the subscription. That's not fair to say we're charging you the full amount just because families are going to be watching it. But you get people like us to where even if we split it, it's still a $15 ticket.
Yeah.
Don't buy it now for $30 and just wait an extra 2 months and you could see it with the whole family without having to pay an absurd price. But Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth $30?
No, I don't think it's worth $30. And I felt that from the beginning. Like, this is too much of a price to make this $30. To go see this in a theater would be like $12. And this movie just didn't feel worth the price, and I think that was very foolish of Disney to make it $30. Like if it was $20, yeah, that's fine. I would pay for something like that. But $30 for this movie, I didn't think it was worth it. Let's go to our scores, Collin. I'm gonna guess your score. I think you're gonna give this a 6.5 out of 10.
All right, so with the caveat of how we viewed it today, with that $30 price point plus the subscription to Disney Plus. You're right, Andrew. I am going to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. Meh. Now, Andrew, I know for a fact you like this movie a lot less than I did. I'm going to say you're probably going to give it... I'm going to go low and say 5.5 out of 10.
Okay, I'm actually going to be, like, nicer, because, like, it's funny. Before we did the score, I was actually thinking about giving it a 7.5 out of 10 just because of what it did, and like it had an all Asian cast and all that. I know you have to credit that because the cast does their best. But yeah, I'm actually gonna go the same score as you, Collin. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Meh.
All right, so that concludes our episode of Good Bad Score. So what did you think of Mulan? Do you think it's worth $30? Do you want to spend all that money that you're paying for Disney Plus and all these other freaking streaming services to watch this movie? Tell us what you know. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our channel. And be sure to watch even our other videos as well, even our Tenet review too. Let us know what you thought about Tenet. And Collin, I just want to say one more thing. Tonight, you need to watch the original Mulan. All right.
Yes, now I will.
Watch it.
Now that this review is done, I'm gonna go watch the original.
Let me know what you think. And I would also encourage you to listen to this. Just listen to some of the soundtrack because it's really great music. So.
Gotcha.
And as always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Collin.
And have a good one and be safe.